I believe in the human spirit and knowledge. I believe that we are good at heart, and I also believe in the resiliency of nature. So I'm hoping there's still time. I'm Rebecca McBride. I'm the founder of For Osprey, which is located in Champaign County, Illinois.
Why don't you tell us why you chose the place we are at right now?
Well, we are sitting in the sunroom in my home, which is located in the woods along the Sangamon River. And it is raining right now, so you might be hearing a little bit of pitter-patter on the glass throughout this time here.
Which I love, for the record. Was there a moment when you were a kid? I just assumed that, like, I don't know, maybe because I know you now, I feel like you were a child who's a little bit beyond your years.
Well, thank you. That's
seeing big picture.
That's kind. You know, I think there were some moments. I think fundamentally, though, I always had a sense of a higher power. I did have sort of a seminal moment when I was in high school. I took an environmental science class from a man by the name of David Castile, and this was kind of a new thing back then. This would have been like in the early to mid 70s, and I just was blown away. It was like, this is it, you know, this is it. It just ignited something in me, and he ended up taking us to the International Whale Symposium, which was being held at Indiana University. It sort of seems like a strange place, but all these scientists from all over the world came in to talk about their findings about whales. This was during the time that whales were being absolutely decimated, and it was during the Save the Whales time. And I camped over there with several other high school friends, and we went to all sorts of sessions at this symposium. It changed my life forever. I knew that I had never felt the way I felt between that class and that trip.
How did your career help shape the way you navigate your activism?
You know, it's interesting because I originally, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a marine biologist because of that experience. But for whatever reasons, you know, it wasn't really accepted then. Like a marine biology degree is really respected now. I sort of took the safe way and ended up going in a career path that was different. But as I look back, I realized that the career path I took absolutely shaped now and what I'm doing now, and that maybe I needed to have those other experiences in order to come full circle and come back to my original passions. I worked as a teacher. I was a public education teacher for a bit, and then I worked in healthcare. I worked in park districts, and then I worked in the arts at the University of Illinois at Krannert Center for the Performing Arts, and all those experiences really shaped my understanding of social justice. I think I really began to more deeply understand the unbelievable unfairness of this world. I took a class about deep ecology, and basically I was like, that's it. That's my philosophy. I didn't know what to call it, you know? I was like, that's it. And it's really about the intrinsic value of every living thing on this earth, and that if we show respect and kindness and compassion and we only use what we need, we will stay in balance, and it's the right thing to do, and that we can really flourish as human beings and as the earth. And so that really informed my actions going forward.
Yeah, well, and there's that through line. I mean, there's education, healthcare, and the arts. Talk about if you don't understand social justice after those three areas,
yeah,
you're not paying attention. Yeah, exactly. So that's actually a really beautiful path to how you got to where you are now.
Yeah.
For Osprey was your first moment of taking a different type of leadership role, one that speaks directly to your passions and hopes for solutions. Was there any fear in starting that organization, any hurdles along the way, any words of wisdom for others considering starting a nonprofit? Because I know that's intimidating. So
yeah, I'm perfectly fine now, but I had a diagnosis of ovarian cancer, and now I'm a 15-year survivor, and so I was very, very lucky. But that really woke me up, and I think that that happens to a lot of people, is like, what really matters to me, what is the things that most matter in my life, and how can I achieve it? And I kind of, before I realized I was going to be okay, I thought maybe I had made a mistake. I hadn't done what I was supposed to do when I was here on Earth. And so I wasn't very fearful when I started the nonprofit. I was naive. I was very resolute. I was going to start this nonprofit, and I was confident that I had the skills to do it. Getting it launched was one thing, and did a pretty good job of that. But it's been hard, and I've had a lot of stumbling blocks, and mostly I think I've learned again and again that just because I feel this way and that I have this philosophy and I'm trying to inspire people to understand that philosophy and do what they can. I'm not talking about, everybody changing everything in their lives, but that if we all kind of do something and we can get there. I believe in the human spirit and knowledge. I believe that we are good at heart, and I also believe in the resiliency of nature. So I'm hoping there's still time. Communicating that and getting that into people and where they feel motivated has been incredibly challenging. I had to launch initiatives that make sense to a person or fulfill a need of some person, that makes sense, they want to do that. And I still haven't gotten it, all together, but I think it's a journey, and I'm just going to keep at it. And I think if there is any advice to give other nonprofit leaders, is to never give up. You're gonna have discouraging days, you're gonna be exhausted, you need to have a lot of support from other people to keep going. Surround yourself with people that will inspire you. The other advice is there's a lot of logistics. The day-to-day just takes up so much, and you feel like you're never really getting to the big stuff. And so maybe that's time management, but it's just a fact. And so to know that and just to keep plugging away. For Osprey's mission is to advocate and inspire people to embrace a deep ecology philosophy. But if you read about deep ecology, it does put the intrinsic value of human life equal to animals and plants. And for that, it's really hard for some people to understand and to accept. I think people are taking it too literally. It's that human beings will be their very best, and we will flourish, and we will be the happiest if we embrace this kind of way of living in balance. So I often don't use the deep ecology words because I think that scares people. I realized people needed something more concrete. This was all, philosophy, what does that mean? And I get that. EcoFluent became a website where you could find labels you could trust. If you're buying something, how do you make sure you buy something that it has the criteria you're looking for? EcoFluent was really about using your dollars, using your purchasing power to make change. I'm pulling away from that just a little bit, not about the philosophy of EcoFluent, not pulling away in any way on that, but there are so many resources out there.
How did you end up starting the school programs? Also, now that I'm thinking of it, how were you able to do all these initiatives while being the Senior Associate Director at Krannert Center?
I'm not sure we did all three of those things right at the same time, but it was all in a very condensed period of time. The other project we did was with the Eastern Illinois Food Bank. We called the Backpack Program, and it really goes back to that, a little bit about what EcoFluent's about. The Backpack Program was about raising money in order to buy organic and healthy snacks to be included in an existing program that sent backpacks home with children who qualified for free lunches at school to help them get through the weekends because they were food insecure. And it seemed like there was an awful lot of unhealthy food. It certainly wasn't good for the environment the way a lot of it was being produced. And it goes back to the social justice too. They can't afford it, and that's not fair. And so let's do that. And plus we increase the amount of organic food, healthy food that we were purchasing, which hopefully brings the price down. So it kind of hit a sweet spot there. Pacheco Mayoral is no longer living, but he was the first fisherman to have a friendly encounter with a whale. This was when, in the height of probably the 70s, in the height of the whale decimation. And here this whale came up to his fishing boat, and that whale stayed with him for like an hour. He wanted to show people how wonderful these creatures were, and that we needed to learn about our ocean, and we needed to learn about these animals, and he changed careers because of it. When I learned of it, I had to go. At this, it's kind of a little resort, no power other than wind power, no plumbing. This is in Baja California Sur, and it's where the whales come to calve. They will take you out on these little boats, and that's what Pacheco did after that. And so I thought, well, why don't we partner with a class or something, and maybe we can explore whales in the ocean together. I can go down there, and then I can come back and talk about it. And so that's what we did. We raised money for an educational center that Pacheco and his family were building so that people could learn more. They didn't have a facility.
What a beautiful full circle. He was interacting at the same time you're going to that thing in Indiana and falling in love with whales. Like, I never realized the timing of that and how that is just that kind of non-linear beauty of time and space. Can we talk about the Community Solutions Incubator through the Community Foundation? And maybe you can talk about just the Community Foundation first and your involvement there.
I was lucky enough to be invited to be on the board of the Community Foundation of East Central Illinois, and I didn't know a lot about the Community Foundation as much as I'd lived here forever, but it's just an amazing organization, and it's really a great thing. So if you want to give money, but you're not sure who to give it to, you know what you're passionate about, but you don't know who you should give it to, they serve as that interface to make sure that your money is going to places that are really going to have a good impact. At the time I was a board member, Joan Dixon, the then executive director, she'd always been working with nonprofit organizations. You know, she realized that if we're going to be granting money to these organizations, we want to make sure they're good stewards. And so she had been working for years on helping nonprofits get stronger, and had identified a need that, you know, you have these incubators for-profit organizations, but there never is an incubator for nonprofit organizations. At least you don't see that very often. And that maybe that is a role that we could play, and do we want to launch something like that? And so she asked me to lead that endeavor. We had a team of people that sort of thought through how could we do this, and we launched the Community Solutions Incubator, which basically invites nonprofits to come in, and we support them in education, small amount of funding. We're hoping to fund more and more. Provide space for nonprofits. We provide beautiful office space in downtown Champaign if people want to use it.
You uniquely ended up getting to be one of the nonprofits, right? Did Sioux City Farm work with the incubator?
Yep, we still do.
How did that shift happen?
So it was interesting. So I said I really wanted to focus on my nonprofit a little bit more. It was time to, we had gotten the incubator launched, and I said, I think being the leader of this, I think it's time for new blood to come in and be the leader. And they knew what I was doing with Sioux City Farms, which is another initiative of my nonprofit, and they said, do you want to be a member of that? And I thought, why not? It's really a wonderful thing, because when I don't know where to go, or I have questions, or I need moral support, that's a wonderful place to go, either to the individuals I work that also have nonprofits, or the individuals that work at the foundation.
Let's talk about Sioux City Farm, and it's incredible what's happening today, but start us at the beginning.
Okay, well, so after I retired, I took about 2.5 years, and I kept thinking that the Champaign-Urbana area has all the knowledge and skills and wonderful people that I've ever seen. There's nothing that I feel like we can't do here. And I wondered why we weren't more of a leader in sustainability and social justice. And it seemed like we ought to have some sort of model program, I had no idea what it might be, that tied those things together in really powerful ways. So what I did is I started interviewing people. I interviewed people from all walks of life. One theme kept coming back is that it seems like we ought to be doing something around agriculture. since we are well known for agriculture in this area. So the concept for CU City Farms is really to create a more resilient, socially just community here through the development of a local urban farming. And we saw lots of avenues for future development. We could have food hubs. We also train people in everything food related. So maybe there's a chef school. There's training for becoming any kind of worker in the food distribution or the food service area. It's just huge, So if you sort of start with this urban farming program and kind of build from there. And the most important part of this is that these endeavors would be owned and operated by individuals from underserved neighborhoods. We knew this wouldn't work unless there were individuals who thought in those communities who thought this might work and got equally passionate about it. Then I got a call from Juliana Salette, who works at Carl, and she says, "Rebecca, we just got a bus donated to us by the MTD, and I'm wondering if this is where we start. What if we have some sort of mobile market?" Now, the Community Health Initiatives arm of Carl had been going out to these neighborhoods with their mobile health clinic. They had been doing all sorts of engagement, and she saw the need, and she goes, maybe that would be something that CU City Farms could operate, and then we could get in those communities and start to develop relationships. And so that's where we are right now. CU City Farms is operating the mobile market twice a week. We go to 4 different neighborhoods for 4 hours each time. We are about up to, I think, about at least 13,000 pounds of food we've given away in a little over about a 1 year and 1 month. And we have made wonderful relationships. We are addressing food insecurity, particularly through COVID.
I might be confusing with Prosperity Garden too. Isn't there a work
Yes.
initiative that's happening with, is it the homeless population?
Mm-hmm. City of Champaign Township feeds into the CU at Work program, and Prosperity Gardens is now owned by the City of Champaign Township. They said, hey, we'll staff this thing for you with individuals who are at our CU at Work program. So they pay these individuals to not only work their gardens, that they grow their own food, but then to come out and man the mobile market while we're out in the community. In between that and Sola Gradia helping out on manning it, and Prosperity Gardens, we've been able to be out there. That's where we are now. We hope to be doing more things in the future, but we need to take time to develop relationships and address food insecurity while we're at it. So.
Incredible.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. In Seymour, Illinois, which is my home, in the wood. God dang it!
I was like, Chance is playing with his phone.
I'll bring him in. And it's Woody. This is gonna take forever. So we have outtakes at the end.
Oh, we totally are
Yeah.
already. You've done
Yeah.
like 6 of them that are great.